Welcome to Listworthy. In this video, I will be explaining the new Netflix series, Warrior Nun. Warrior Nun begins with a dead girl lying on a table, and she is being looked over dispassionately by a priest and a nasty nun who makes it clear that she didn't like the dead girl and is convinced she has gone to hell.
She will burn like those who spawned her.
You assume she's in hell.
The dead girl is a 19-year-old named Ava Silvo, and the nasty nun who used to care for her at an orphanage is unwilling to reveal the cause of her death.
Leave the cause of death blank.
I'm not supposed
I said, leave it blank.
The priest, who seems way nicer than the nun, gets a text message on his phone. He then gets rid of the nun in a hurry, and then when she leaves, a group of girls sneak in through the back. One of them is named Shannon, and she is badly wounded by something called divinium shrapnel. It is clear that Shannon will die from her wounds. So another nun comes in and turns her over to remove a holy artifact out of her back. The artifact is a halo, and whoever wounded Shannon is after it. Before she dies, Shannon tells her bestie Mary not to trust anyone. Just then, a bunch of goons bust into the church morgue and try to take the halo, but it glows white hot and burns off one of the goons' fingers clean off. The nun picks up the halo and runs off with it to the room the dead girl Ava is in. In a desperate attempt to hide the halo, the nun embeds it into her back. The goons follow the nun, and there is a small struggle. As this is happening, the halo brings Ava back to life. But not only that, before she died she was a quadriplegic, but now she can walk. She wakes up just in time to see the nun be killed. When the attacker turns his attention to her, she picks up a metal object and whacks him with it hard, which causes him to disappear in a puff of red smoke and ashes. Ava can hear gunfire in the other room, so she runs off into the street scared. At first, she thinks she is tripping balls, but she clearly remembers dying. So she maybe starts to think she is in hell, but she takes comfort in the fact that at least in hell her legs work. She then switches theories and starts to believe she is dreaming. She meets guys hitting on her in the streets, vomits on one of them, and then gets hit by a bus. She is in a lot of pain, and she finally concludes that she is definitely not dreaming. Her broken bones from being hit by a bus heal almost instantly though, and she is left more confused than ever. Back at the church morgue, the girls and the priest talk about the events that led to their attack. They also discuss Ava and the halo she is running around with. Apparently, she is a unique case in that the halo brought her back to life, something it's never done before. Ava sneaks back into the orphanage and visits a little boy who used to be her roomie there. He encourages her to make the most of what she has been given. Ava takes his advice to heart, but then has to leave in a hurry when the priest from earlier comes to investigate her origins. She is elated to be walking. She goes running on the beach, she has her first alcoholic beverage, and all night long she is just up and about the town, till the next day when she wanders onto someone's private property and nearly drowns in the swimming pool. She is rescued and given food by a guy named JC. He introduces her to his friends, who are cold towards her, and she learns that they are squatting in the mansion. The priest, who was looking into Ava the previous night, after learning that there will be no nosy family members to look into her death and resurrection, decides to secretly give Mary orders to retrieve the halo from Ava, even if it means her death. Back at the mansion, Ava spends time with the mansion squatters, and they eventually warm up to her after realizing that she won't turn them in to the police.
I'm sorry about earlier today. We were in rough shape. Strangers tend to make us a bit uncomfortable.
They go clubbing together, and while Ava is dancing, she notices a trail of red smoke floating above the club that only she can see. She follows the smoke, and it leads her to two people crumpled up against the wall, looking kinda dead, with the red smoke engulfing them. Ava is spooked and she runs back to JC.
Sí. No literales.
In the meantime, Mary and the other girls remember their friend and leader Shannon and silently cry. At the church morgue, a monster comes looking for Shannon's body, but to its outrage, the halo is not in her. Ava is now officially living with the squatters at the mansion and has her own room. Back at the church, there is tension between the nuns. Mary wants to find out why they were ambushed, and this other girl, Lilith, who was supposed to be the next halo bearer, feels like she was cheated out of her legacy and wants to focus all her attention on finding Ava and the halo.
You're just pissed because you were screwed out of your legacy.
I am here because my family has contributed 6 halo bearers over 3 centuries. But I earned my spot as next in line.
Their argument is interrupted when news comes to them that someone vandalized Shannon's corpse. Father Vincent deduces that a monster from hell called a Tarrasque did the dirty deed and that it's after the halo. So more than ever, it's urgent that they get to Ava first.
Whoever did this wasn't human.
A church official, Cardinal Giretti, also makes it clear to Father Vincent that if he doesn't retrieve the halo, his position in the church may be in danger. Ava and the mansion squatter gang sneak into a party being thrown by a company called Arctech, the head of which, Dr. Salvius, is something of a personal hero to Ava. At the Arctech party, Cardinal Giretti is also present. In a private room, Dr. Salvius demonstrates how she is now able to open a portal to other places using a proprietary alloy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the world's first quantum portal.
Cardinal Giretti knows that the metal alloy being used in the portal device is divinium, and he wants it back as he believes it to be the property of the church. He is also firmly against the work Dr. Salvius is doing.
What you call a proprietary alloy is in fact the consecrated property of the church.
When the squatter gang gets busted at the party as intruders, they run away and leave Ava behind. The Tarrasque appears from hell to try and take the halo from Ava, but the nuns and Father Vincent arrive and defend her. In the presence of the Tarrasque, the halo on Ava's back glows and gives off an energy blast, causing the Tarrasque to retreat. Not knowing what the hell is going on, all Ava wants is to leave and rejoin her friends, but Father Vincent and the nuns sedate her before she can make her escape. Ava later gains consciousness and finds herself strapped to a bed. She hears an argument between 2 of the nuns about whether or not to just rip the halo out of her body, even if it kills her. Scared, she levitates off the bed, demonstrating another ability the church didn't seem to know about.
You ever see Shannon do that?
No.
What's happening?
She manages to free herself of her restraints, but with her emotions in a tangle, she creates a blast of power and knocks herself out.
What the hell is going on? This is going to be a long day.
When she comes to, Father Vincent explains that for her own protection, she just can't be allowed to go free because the Tarrasque is after her. He also gives her a quick history lesson about Ariella of Cordoba and how she became the first warrior nun. According to church history, Ariella of Cordoba was this badass chick who fought in a holy crusade a long time ago, and one day, when she got fatally wounded in battle, the angel Adriel is said to have come down from heaven and given her his halo to save her life, thus making her the first warrior nun. Ava begins to train with the other nuns, but doesn't take things seriously, much to the chagrin of Lilith and Mother Superior, who is in charge of the girls. Mother Superior doesn't like Ava because she believes Ava committed suicide and considers her a sinner who doesn't deserve to bear the halo.
She's not one of us. She's a sinner. She killed herself.
It also turns out that the other reason why Mother Superior is so salty is because once upon a time, she was selected to be the next halo bearer, but the halo rejected her and so it had to be passed on to someone else. Father Vincent, however, seems to have changed his mind about ripping the halo out of Ava's body and starts to believe that maybe things are as God intended them to be. Ava, on the other hand, doesn't seem all that interested in learning how to properly wield the Halo's powers and just wants to live her life, so she foolishly abuses the trust Father Vincent puts in her and escapes the church at the first chance she gets. Meanwhile, after seeing how an ancient divinium artifact reacted to Ava on her security cameras, Dr. Salvius from Arctech tracks down Ava's squatter friends at the new mansion they are squatting in and instructs them to contact her when Ava shows up. The first thing that happens to Ava when she leaves the church is that she gets knifed in the gut and kicked bloody in the face. She heals from this, of course, and finds her squatter friends, but they are not happy to see her because of all the unwanted attention they've received because of her. JC, not agreeing with how his friends treat Ava, abandons them and sticks with her. They are about to skip town together when Ava puts 2 and 2 together and realizes that the nun at the orphanage had murdered her, so she goes back to rescue her former roomie Diego and ends up killing the wicked nun at the orphanage in self-defense. Cardinal Duretti delays his return to the Vatican and stays in Spain, basically displacing Father Vincent as the leader of the Order of the Cruciform Sword.
Where's Father Vincent? Why is the Cardinal taking off? What difference does it make?
Cardinal Duretti tells the nuns that they are at war with Dr. Salvius, who is a heretic trying to open the gates of hell, and that they must steal back the church's holy divinium artifacts from her company. He also privately enlists a disgruntled Lilith to hunt down Ava and the Halo so that she, as the person who was supposed to be the next rightful bearer, can take it from her. The nuns steal back the divinium artifact from Dr. Salvius, as Cardinal Duretti ordered, while Lilith manages to track down Ava.
I only need part of you.
In an attempt to take the Halo, Lilith nearly kills Ava, but Mary shows up just in the nick of time to stop her.
What the hell is wrong with you? Stay out of this, Mary. Back up.
While the 2 nuns are fighting and distracted, Ava leaves and runs off on a cruise ship with JC. As retaliation for stealing from her, Dr. Salvius shows reporters the surveillance footage of the nuns breaking into her facility and makes the church look bad. She reveals that she is trying to open a portal to heaven, a place where there is no sickness or suffering or death.
What if God provided us with the tools to find our own way to a realm where death doesn't exist?
Father Vincent, unhappy with how Cardinal Duretti has led the order into open war with Dr. Salvius, goes behind the church's back and tells Dr. Salvius how to get the divinium artifact back, in return for her ceasing her search for Ava, a condition to which she easily agrees to. At the church, Cardinal Duretti is making moves to consolidate his power and tries to recruit the nun Beatrice to his side, but she is wary of him and only promises unwavering loyalty to God.
You may always count on me to remain faithful. To God.
Mary and Lilith continue to fight and clash with each other as they each race to find Ava. Ava, thinking she has successfully dished the nuns, takes her relationship with JC to the next level. When Mary catches Ava, she tries to give her a chance to say her goodbyes to JC, but she just ends up running again. JC, tired of running, demands to know what is going on, but before Ava can give him an answer, Lilith catches up to them and knocks JC out. Lilith tries to impress upon Ava the importance of the Halo to the church and the order, and tells her that if she is not ready to fight for humanity, she needs to give the Halo back.
People want to live their lives just like you, Ava. And if you're not willing to fight for them, you need to give back the Halo.
Ava is unreasoning, but Lilith, not one to be screwed around with, tries to cut the Halo out of Ava's back. Again, Mary interrupts Lilith, and as they are about to fight, the Tarrasque shows up. Lilith ends up defending Ava against the Tarrasque at a painful personal cost and urges her to pick up the divinium sword. Ava uses the sword to banish the Tarrasque back to hell, but it takes a badly wounded Lilith with it. JC witnesses the whole thing and is confused and scared. Ava runs off again, leaving JC and Mary behind. Back at Arctech, we learn that the reason Dr. Salvias is so very dedicated to opening a portal to heaven is because she has a sick young son. Mary tracks down Ava and tells her she is sick and tired of chasing her and won't hunt her down anymore. The two go on a long sucky walk to get to the nearest town. When they get there, Ava finds out that Mary and Shannon had been to the town before in the previous year when there had been a swarm of demons tormenting the people. They take shelter in the town church and they are treated warmly everywhere they go. Mary and Ava bond, and Mary even shows Ava how to remove a demon from a possessed man and kill it. Eventually, Beatrice comes to pick up Mary, and she and Ava part peacefully. When Beatrice is in the car with Mary, she asks if Ava is coming with them.
She coming?
No. But she will.
Some time passes, and a memorial is held for Lilith. Some of her sister nuns are afraid that she didn't make it to heaven because the Tarask dragged her to hell with it.
Because if the Tarask took her, could she be in hell? I mean, is that even a thing? Can she be dragged to hell?
Cardinal Giretti, unable to win the loyalty of the nuns in the Order of the Cruciform Sword, reassigns everyone to different convents around the world, essentially kicking them out of the order and replacing them with rejected order candidates from previous years who are loyal to him. This action displeases Mother Superior, but she just shuts up, follows orders, and gives everyone their marching orders. Father Vincent too has been reassigned to Florida and all seems hopeless. He ends up having a conversation with Mary in which he tells her that before Shannon died, she had confided in him that she thought that the Vatican was keeping some dark secret. He had told her to speak with Cardinal Giretti about it, as he would be the person most likely to have useful information for her. But seeing as Shannon's digging around aided in her death, Mary is convinced that Cardinal Giretti is behind her murder.
They already did this, and I'm going to bring hell down on them for it.
Ava goes to Dr. Salvias at Arctech, and they try to find out about the halo. But Ava is disappointed to learn that Dr. Salvias is only interested in using her as a power source to power her portal machine. But when Dr. Salvias opens up about her son being the reason she does her work, Ava forgives her. But as the halo proved ineffective at powering the portal machine, she departs and decides to go back to the church. But unfortunately for her, the church is now run by Giretti's sociopathic people, and she narrowly escapes being spotted with Mary's help.
Mary? What the fuck?
At Mary's urging, Ava phases into a secret chamber that is hidden in the walls of Shannon's old rooms, and retrieves the journal that is passed down to each halo bearer, and finds Shannon's entries before she died. As Ava and Mary are about to leave the church, they are ambushed by Giretti's reject nuns, but Beatrice and Camilla show up to give them some much-needed backup, and they are able to escape.
I really hope I got God's message right.
During the escape, Ava has to be carried out to the car because she overextended herself in using the halo's power. Mother Superior travels to the Vatican to try and report Giretti's actions to the Pope, but she is too late as the Pope has just passed away and the conclave begins to select a new one. At the end of the episode, Lilith appears seemingly out of thin air, looking a little confused. The nuns learn the history about halo bearers and their lives. They also learn that after the angel Adriel gave up his halo to Ariella, he became mortal, aged, and eventually died. But his bones were powerful, so to prevent people from abusing that power, the warrior nuns buried his remains in a secret tomb. Not having anywhere to go after escaping, the sister nuns seek shelter with Dr. Salvias. The deal they make is that if she helps them, They will get her Adriel's bones, which could possibly power her portal machine.
If the bones are as powerful as the journal says, then maybe you can use it to power your machine.
Through more reading of the journal, the sister nuns learn that the presence of Adriel's bones is what keeps demons anchored to the earth, and that Duretti intends to use the bones' power to control the demons and keep people reliant on the church. Lilith manages to locate her sister nuns at Arctech, but she doesn't seem to remember what happened to her on the other side or how she got back. Grateful that Lilith was willing to lay down her life to protect her, Ava thanks Lilith and the two become friendly and call a truce. Ava has a dream, and in that dream, Shannon tells her that all the Halo bearers before her lived very short and lonely lives. She also says that the Halo is a burden that is too great to be carried by one person. The conversation she has with Shannon prompts Ava towards a new mission to use the Halo's power to destroy Divinium and Adriel's bones, banishing the demons from Earth forever.
Shannon is right, and the relic of Adriel is keeping demons on Earth. Then we have to destroy the bones.
Ava also hopes that by destroying Adriel's bones, it will stop the cycle of death among sister nuns and Halo bearers.
I'm going to be the last warrior nun.
Believing Cardinal Duretti wants Adriel's bones for power, Ava and the nuns break into the Vatican during the papal election. Lilith, still resting at Arctech, peels the scab off her wound, and it becomes obvious something supernatural is happening to her. Dr. Salvias witnesses her teleporting from one spot to another like the Tarrasque that attacked her and tries to investigate what is going on. She finds the pieces of scab Lilith peeled off her wound, and when she runs tests on it, finds that the scab is indestructible and aggressively regenerates itself when cut or burned. Lilith continues to act weird, and to her surprise, finds that she now has retractable claws. When Ava is about to enter Adriel's tomb, Lilith has a freak out and teleports herself to the Vatican and tries to stop Ava from entering the tomb, convinced that if Ava enters the tomb with the Halo, it will destroy them all.
Lilith, you're jeopardizing the mission. She's jeopardizing us all! The Halo cannot enter Adriel's tomb.
Mary is able to subdue Lilith and snap her out of whatever is influencing her as Ava phases through the walls of the tomb. In the walls of the tomb, Ava finds a Tarrasque corpse that glows blue like Divinium, and Beatrice deduces that the Tarrasque remains are the original organic sources of Divinium. When Ava finally enters the tomb, she does not find any bones. She is instead surprised to find a living man who introduces himself as Adriel. Meanwhile, on the surface, Cardinal Duretti wins the papal election and is officially the new pope. Back in the tomb, Adriel thanks Ava for returning his halo, calling her by her name even though she hasn't introduced herself, seemingly able to read her mind. On the other side of the tomb, Lilith is anxious as hell, instinct telling her that the halo should be taken out of the tomb immediately. It becomes clear that the tomb Ava is in was never meant to serve as a tomb, but as a prison to keep Adriel contained. So the big question becomes, why was he imprisoned? According to Adriel, Ariella, the first warrior nun, betrayed him, and with the help of the then Pope Urban, they imprisoned him in the tomb when they found out that they could not kill him. They did this, he claims, because they were power-hungry and wanted to manipulate Christians unhindered. Adriel lays his tragic story on Ava pretty thick, and she, after hearing it, is willing to give the halo back to him even if it kills her or leaves her in her original quadriplegic state. But as Adriel is about to reach for the halo, images from long ago flash in Ava's mind, and she grows suspicious of him, so she asks him what he will do with the halo once he has it back. When he touches her again, Ava's eyes roll into the back of her head, and she sees the life of Ariella and the real history of Adriel, the so-called angel. The real history goes like this. Ariella really did get mortally wounded while in battle, But the angel Adriel didn't come from heaven to save her, as is popularly believed. He appeared out of a portal with the halo in his hand, not on his head, and Tarasques were chasing him down. And it appears that Adriel didn't just use the halo as an energy source, but as a tool that could open and close portals to other worlds. Ariela's comrades, after witnessing Adriel kill a Tarasque, mistook him for an agent of Christ.
I am your servant, agent of Christ, slayer of devils.
Adriel took advantage of this and had the men swear their loyalty to him. He also saved Ariela by giving her the halo, but he didn't do it out of kindness, but rather to hide the halo from the Tarasques. When Ariela woke up, she, unlike other people, saw right through his bullshit, not believing for a second that he was an angel.
And you are no angel.
Ariela confronted Adriel. He was like, yeah, I'm not an angel, but if you expose me, I will take back what I gave you and let you die. We can guess from there that after some years, Ariela and Pope Urban found a way to get rid of him, even if they could not kill him. In the present, Ava makes the decision to not give Adriel the halo, but he attacks her. When Adriel tries to take the halo from Ava by force, Dr. Salvias's portal machine at Arctech inexplicably opens by itself and her son runs through it. But when she tries to follow him, it closes, leaving her devastated. Back in the tomb, Ava is able to fight off Adriel with an energy blast. On the other side of the tomb, the sister nuns get nervous and blow up the walls of the tomb to get to Ava. This causes a huge disturbance on the surface, and the building collapses just as Giretti is about to address the citizens of the Vatican for the first time. Confused, Giretti speaks with Mother Superior, who tells him that the jig is up and that she knows all his secrets, like how he killed Shannon and his plans for Adriel's bones. She vows that his papacy will be the shortest in history. Giretti is confused. He is like, what the hell are you talking about? I didn't kill anyone. All I've been trying to do is protect the order and my reputation so I can become the Pope. What about the bones? Mother Superior asks him. Again, Giretti is like, woman, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. What bones? Who is making these accusations against me? It is at this point that Mother Superior realizes that Giretti, although being ambitious, is in fact an innocent man. After getting Ava out of the tomb and getting to the surface, the sister nuns want to know what happened, but before she can explain, Adriel shows up, looking all big and bad, throwing innocent civilians out of their way with his supernatural powers, and he has his eyes trained on Ava. Father Vincent breaks ranks and approaches Adriel. My master, he says respectfully, revealing himself to be the real traitor and not Giretti as was previously believed. The sister nuns realize that they were used and that Father Vincent is the real culprit behind Shannon's murder. Adriel looks ready to unleash violence on the streets of the Vatican, but Father Vincent tells his master that he cannot reveal himself to the world in such a way and tells him that his machine is ready. It can be a pretty safe bet to assume that the machine he is talking about is Dr. Salvias's portal machine. Adriel whispers something in Vincent's ear and then walks past him. Vincent is left looking a little shaken and we can only guess what was said to him. Mary is so mad at Vincent, she wants to kill him, but Lilith holds her back and confidently steps up to Adriel to confront him, and when he tries to use his powers on her, they don't work. You've been to the other side, he says in surprise. What are you?
What are you?
Doesn't matter, but I know what you really are. Nothing but a thief.
Clearly, she is starting to remember her knowledge from the other side, as Adriel calls it. Adriel smacks her across the face so hard, she flies several feet into the air before falling on the ground. The nuns react to this by attacking him angrily, but they are no match for him, and even when they shoot him in the head with an arrow, he just pulls it out like it's nothing and mocks them. But the nuns say, oh, we know we can't beat you. We just needed to store you for 7 minutes, just enough time for Ava to recharge and regain her halo super strength. At this, Adriel summons wraith demons that possess people in full view of every citizen on the street, and it's clearly about to go down. In this life or the next, the nuns say to each other, prepared to die fighting. F that, Mary says. In this life, she declares, pulling out her shotguns. Despite this, she is overwhelmed by the possessed who surround her and climb on top of her. Through all this, Vincent just stands in a corner like a coward, and that is how the first season of Warrior Nun ends, on a cliffhanger.